President Volodymyr Zelensky meets EU chief, says his war-torn country deserved to start EU accession talks this year, and that integration with the European bloc would give Ukrainians motivation to fight Russia's invasion. EU chief assures Zelensky of continued support to Ukraine. First employment working group meeting of G20 is in progress at Jodhpur with focus on addressing global skills gap. First meeting of sustainable finance working group will enter the final day of deliberations in Guwahati today with focus on climate finance and financing towards sustainable development. Ministry of External Affairs condemns recent vandalizing incidents in Australia. MEA spokesperson says government has asked Australian authorities to ensure Australian territory is not used for activities detrimental to India. European Central Bank raises interest rates by 0.5%, signals for one more hike next month. US Fed Reserve too had raised its benchmark interest rate by a quarter percentage point, indicates it is nearing the end of this hiking cycle. And in sports, in Women's T20 Tri-Series final, Indian women team suffers defeat in yet another summit clash, losing a low-scoring Tri-Series final to host South Africa by 5 wickets. Hello, you're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this edition of the news. Our top story first. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during her visit to Kyiv on Thursday. Over a dozen top European Union officials accompanied her. Ukrainian President said that during the first such gathering in Kyiv since the war began last February 24th, the leaders discussed 10th package of sanctions against Russia. He also called on to start EU accession talks this year.
We have discussed new sanctions against Russia, the 10th EU package of sanctions in particular. The common task for the European Union is to reduce Russian ability to bypass sanctions. The sooner this is achieved, the closer we will get to the defeat of Russian aggression. We have noticed that the pace of sanction has slowed down a bit, while the terrorist state has speeded adapting to sanctions. It is worth to catch up and fix it. We believe we can do it.
The EU reaffirmed commitment to extend military, financial and political aid to the war-torn country and showed support for Ukraine before the first anniversary of Russia's offensive in Ukraine. The EU chief, Ursula von der Leyen, assured Zelensky of continued support to Ukraine, including with a new €450 million assistance package for 2023.
Europe has been by Ukraine's side since day one, because we know that the future of our continent is being written here. We know that you are fighting for more than yourselves. What is at stake is freedom. This is a fight of democracies against authoritarian regimes. Putin tries to deny the existence of Ukraine, but what he risks instead is the future of Russia. Our presence in Kyiv today gives a very clear signal. The whole of the European Union is in this with Ukraine for the long haul, and we will stand up for Ukraine as we stand up for the fundamental rights and the respect of the international law.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also emphasized on increasing global pressure during his nightly television address on Thursday. He also expressed gratitude to all those involved in defending the country.
We must continue what we are doing to strengthen our resilience and be absolutely united in our desire to provide our army and all defenders with all necessary weapons and equipment in Ukraine. We need to speak with one voice to the world regarding defense supply, and we also have to significantly increase global pressure on Russia every month. I believe that Ukraine deserves to start negotiation on EU membership already this year, and I thank the President of European Commission, her colleagues and our friends in the EU for their considerable support on the path of integration and in protecting our state and people.
Meanwhile, in midst of the strengthening support for Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed to defeat Kyiv in the ongoing war. President Putin evoked the spirit of the Soviet army that defeated Nazi German forces at Stalingrad 80 years ago. In a fiery speech marking the anniversary of the World War II in Volgograd, Putin lambasted Germany for helping to arm Ukraine and said not for the first time that he was ready to draw on Russia's entire arsenal, which includes nuclear weapons.
Those who draw European countries, including Germany, into a new war with Russia and even irresponsibly declare this is a done deal. Those who are betting they will defeat Russia on the battlefield clearly don't understand that modern war with Russia will be quite different for them. We don't send our tanks to their borders, but we have the means to respond, and it won't end with the use of armored vehicles.
Meanwhile, the fierce battle between Russian and Ukrainian forces continues to unleash large-scale destruction and claim lives as well. In the eastern Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk, wounded people were seen groaning in pain as they received medical assistance while lying on the snowy ground. Rescuers combed through debris scattered along residential streets that were pierced by large craters caused by the Russian missile strikes overnight. Russian strikes in Kramatorsk killed at least 3 people and wounded 18. An apartment building was destroyed and 9 others were damaged. US officials said on Thursday that a Chinese surveillance balloon has been flying over the United States for several days. The officials called the spy balloon a brazen act just days ahead of a planned trip to Beijing by US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. They said that fighter jets were mobilized, but military leaders advised President Joe Biden against shooting the balloon out of the sky for the fear debris could pose a safety threat. The advice Biden accepted. A 3-day G20 employment working group meeting is underway in Jodhpur. Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat delivered the opening remark on the second day of the meeting. The Union Minister called the meeting instrumental in generating new employment opportunities.
And I am confident that the discussions and outcomes of this meeting will be instrumental in shaping the future of the employment globally. I am grateful to the co-chairs of this meeting, our esteemed colleagues from Indonesia and Brazil, for their valuable contributions and supportive words. Their active participation and leadership are crucial in making this meeting a success, and I extend my warm welcome to all delegates and appreciate them for their dedication to the cause of the G20 Employment Working Group.
Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat said that this year's theme of the summit, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, serves as a reminder of shared humanity and the power of working together to build a better future.
The theme of India's G20 presidency, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, or One Earth, One Family, One Future, is particularly fitting as we come together to discuss the interconnectedness of our economies and our people. It serves as a powerful reminder of our shared humanity and the importance of working together to build a better future for all. It also underlines that solutions of the labor and employment challenges we face today must be inclusive, sustainable, and equitable for all. The challenges facing the global labor market are complex and far-reaching, and it is only through cooperation and collaboration that we can hope to find meaningful solutions. The current situation of employment and social security around the world has been affected by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
As Jodhpur hosts the G20 Employment Working Group meeting, the delegates were delighted to attend the cultural events. The delegates shared their experience of having a millet's meal on the occasion, and also up next we take a look at what they said.
Glorious experience this evening, a beautiful setting, a fabulous cultural performance with singing and dancing, and now I'm learning a little bit about millet. Now I think millet offers a lot of promise, both in terms of nutrition and in terms of the environment. So very exciting to see the focus on millet in 2023.
I think just overwhelmed with everything that we've experienced tonight, the culture, including this. This has really just been fantastic. Thank you so much.
And on the sidelines of the ongoing employment working group meeting in Jodhpur, the representatives of the member countries enjoyed a heritage walk through the streets of the old city of Jodhpur. They relished the views of the historical buildings with cultural, geographical and environmental characteristics. They also got to witness beautiful traditions and religious specialities of the old city in Rajasthan. And our correspondent Amritpal Singh in fact reviewed the preparation of traditional millets food for the delegates of G20 Employment Working Group meeting in Jodhpur. Let's take a look.
In line with the Prime Minister's idea of using Indian presidency of G20 to promote the millets, Jodhpur has come up with this novel idea of a millet village. What they've tried to do is they've tried to recreate the village settings for the delegates of the employment working group, which is taking place here in Jodhpur, to familiarize them, one, with millets as food, and also to show the rural culture of Jodhpur and the Marwar region, and of course of Rajasthan. This is how millets are transported traditionally from the farm, and the traditional women folk here then ground them at their homes using these grounding sticks, and then this is once the flour is made, it's taken to and it is being cooked on firewood. The roti of pearl millet or bajra is being made. So they get this is the idea is to give taste of the diverse culture of India and the distinct local culture, the rural culture of the Marwar region, but also use millets to also promote millets. Here they are grounding chutney as it's done on the stone in the traditional way. Culture and promoting the idea of millets. With cameraman YK Loknath, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Jodhpur.
All right, from Jodhpur, let's turn focus to Guwahati now. The first meeting of Sustainable Finance Working Group under G20 began on Thursday in Guwahati. Today is the second and the last day of the meeting. The first day of deliberations at the Sustainable Finance Group meeting saw active participation by G20 delegates on two important aspects out of a total of 3 focus areas. We will tell you what they are. And apart from the deliberations, the delegates also got an unforgettable experience of Assam's rich cultural heritage. DD India correspondent Ravi Dhiman files this report from Guwahati.
The day started with the inaugural speech of Union Minister for Ayush, Sarbanand Sonowal. The importance of the theme of sustainable finance was emphasized repeatedly by the minister. In the press conference that followed, he listed the 3 main topics for discussion over 2 days.
This is a very novel initiative, and definitely in the near future, this particular group is also going to bring out the roadmap for how to mobilize the sustainable finance for this noble action to be well performed. So I believe in this particular aspect, this first sustainable finance working group meeting is very, very important for the people of the globe.
The deliberation started immediately afterwards. The delegates at the meeting, coming from G20 nations as well as international organizations, expressed their gratitude for the warm hospitality offered by the state of Assam.
It's been a privilege, first of all, to be in such a beautiful and warm country with warm people, very receptive. The Indian presidency organized everything in the smallest details. They didn't forget anything.
There was a wonderful welcome, really wonderful, with dancing and music, and then we had great food, and now we've had a really, really good meeting.
Well, the hospitality of Assam has been exceptional, I have to say. We've been actually received very well on our arrival. The excursion yesterday was beautiful, and I had the chance to also see some temples, so that was great. And the meeting is very, very well organized with a key focus area that we believe at the OECD will really help mobilizing sustainable finance.
India is taking forward the initiative taken by Italy during its presidency in 2021 when the working group was initiated. Since then, the talks have made remarkable progress. India believes that after the talks conclude on Friday, there will be forward movement on the subject.
This first Sustainable Finance Working Group meeting is very, very important for the people of the globe. And with the coordinated efforts, with the public-private participation, with the proper policy, with proper roadmap, definitely out of this today's event, we are going to get a very, very important, way out to meet the Sustainable Development Goals agenda and also the objective of the Paris Agreement.
The first day of deliberations covered the first two topics identified by the Indian presidency, that is, mechanism for mobilization of adequate resources for climate finance and enabling finance for sustainable development goals. Deliberations on the second and final day will focus on the third issue of capacity building of the ecosystem for financing sustainable development.
As more than 100 delegates from G20 nations and other groups invited by India deliberate on immensely important issues under the first Sustainability Finance Working Group meeting under the G20 finance track here in Guwahati, all eyes are on this northeastern town because of the immense importance of the issues at hand here. Over 4 sessions spread over 2 days, these delegates will discuss the mechanism that has to be evolved for ensuring that there are resources to fight climate change. They have to evolve a mechanism for capacity building to fight climate change, and also they will be looking at how resources and finance can be ensured for sustainable development goals. By the time deliberations end tomorrow, all eyes will be on Guwahati. With camera person Sanjeev Sharma, this is Ravi Dhiman for DD India in Guwahati.
In Punjab, the BSF troops shot down a quadcopter in Amritsar originating from Pakistan side. The shot down quadcopter along with a packet of contraband item suspected to be heroin has been recovered between international boundary and border fence. The search operation is underway. India has strongly condemned the vandalizing incidents in Melbourne last weekend. The MEA said that government has requested Australia to ensure that the Australian territory is not used for activities detrimental to Indian security, integrity and national interest.
We strongly condemn such attack by extremist elements, and we urge local authorities to investigate and punish the perpetrators. We have been repeatedly taking up with the Australian authorities our concerns about actions by such elements, including those that are proscribed terrorist organizations in fact. We have also conveyed our firm rejection of the so-called Khalistan referendum and the politically motivated exercises by extremist elements.
Caught up in a vicious circle of debt, Pakistan has been spiraling deep into an economic crisis, reviving recent memories of Sri Lanka's financial and political crisis. With the Pakistani rupee falling to record low to fuel prices shooting up, Pakistan has been struggling to fulfill the basic demands of its citizens. The big question remains, is Pakistan moving towards becoming a failed state? Our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya spoke to the director of India Foundation, Alok Bansal, regarding Pakistan's political and economic crisis.
Joining me is Dr. Alok Bansal, the director of India Foundation, to talk about the current scenario in Pakistan. Sir, everybody is asking whether Pakistan is on course to become a failed state or has it already become one?
See, Pakistan is going through a very, very acute crisis. Could even result in breaking up of Pakistan. Because please understand, Pakistan's financial situation is bad. with foreign exchange reserves depleting below 3.7, rupee going above 270 to a dollar, and IMF team not happy with the Pakistani proposal. And Pakistan's default, you can imagine, will create a chaos in the country. The essentials that come to Pakistan will not come. Already there is a shortage of fuel, there is a shortage of X-ray films, there is a shortage of critical life-saving drugs, coming at a time when the country is already facing a political issue also. There is now a resurgence of TTP, the violence levels are now heading towards what were experienced in Pakistan between 2009 and 2014.
Do you believe that it might just break down under its own pressure, and there will be different state will come out of that, or do you believe that another round of coup did happen and a military rule will again come into force?
Maybe at some stage, if military feels that thing is slipping from under their feet, they might try to take control of things directly. But situation is difficult. Now, if military takes it over, it will actually pit the population against military, because the economic situation is not going to improve. Military doesn't have a wonder stick or something that they can wave the stick and transform the country. But you might see that the central authority may start withering away, because the day country defaults and the prices start rising and people start, some sort of an anarchy may creep in. And a state which often people call as Lebanonization may exist. Now, Lebanonization of Pakistan is a dangerous proposition, because Lebanonization is a situation where geographical frontiers of a country remain intact, but internal actors become autonomous as far as they are dealing with not only one another is concerned, but also with external powers. Better than that would be if there is a Balkanization of Pakistan, where actually Pakistan probably neatly divides into 3 or 4 states, because at least that will curb radicalization, and many of these states would pursue an agenda driven by growth because of their nationalistic identity.
If things don't improve in Pakistan, we might see a Balkanization of that particular country. With camera person Alok, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for TD India from Delhi.
The European Central Bank raised interest rates by 0.5% on Thursday and explicitly signalled at least one more hike of the same magnitude in March in view of the underlying inflation pressure. President of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, said that keeping interest rates at restrictive levels will reduce inflation.
We today decided to raise the 3 key ECB interest rates by 50 basis points, and we expect to raise them further. In view of the underlying inflation pressures, we intend to raise interest rates by another 50 basis points at our next monetary policy meeting in March, and we will then evaluate the subsequent path of our monetary policy. Keeping interest rates at restrictive levels will over time reduce inflation by dampening demand, and will also guard against the risk of persistent upward shift in inflation expectations.
A day after the funeral of Terry Nichols, who died as the result of police brutality, U.S. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris met with members of the Congressional Black Caucus on Thursday in the White House to discuss police reforms. Biden said he talked with Nicholas's family by phone, in fact on phone, and expressed hope that the dark memory of his case would spur action. Representative James Clyburn and Senator Raphael Warnock joined caucus chair Stephen Horsford at the meeting. Horsford said the caucus and black communities need Biden's help to enact the reforms necessary to save lives and to make public safety a priority for all communities. Tyree Nichols, a 29-year-old father from Memphis, Tennessee, was pronounced dead in hospital on 10th of January, 3 days after a traffic stop by Memphis police. Footage released by authorities last week showed officers brutally punching and kicking Nichols even when he was already subdued.
The death of Tyree Nichols is yet another example of why we do need action. But you've already led on the action that we've been able to take through executive order. We need your help to make sure we can get the legislative actions that are necessary to save lives and to make public safety the priority that it needs to be for all communities.
On to sports now. South Africa defeated India by 5 wickets to win the T20 International Tri-Series final on Thursday. Claude Tryon scored an unbeaten 57 off 32 for South Africa as the hosts chased down India's total of 109 runs in 18 overs. Earlier, Harleen Deol's knock of 46 off 56 balls guided India to a total of 109 for 4 in 20 overs. Opting to bat first, Team India lost 3 wickets in quick succession, but Harleen's knock propels them to a decent total. For South Africa, Nonku Lelko scalped 2 wickets, while Seun Luza and Ayabonga Khaka took 1 wicket each. That's it in this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.